Hi, this is John Hodoway with Nighthawk Custom Training Academy. Today I've got a Springfield Armory XDs in 45 ACP that I'm going to be reviewing today, and just wanted to kind of walk you guys through this. I'm going to give you my impressions of it. I'm going to talk about it here with kind of on the table. There's a couple of other web pages that we'll post some links to that allow you to get an in-depth review of shooting the gun that a friend of mine did. And that way you can kind of see it from my perspective and from his perspective. We agree on some things. We don't really see eye to eye on a couple of other things. So, with that said, this is the newest addition to the Springfield Armory family, which is the XDs in 45 ACP, 3.3 on the barrel, or on the slide, which I'm assuming means 3.3 inch barrel. And as you can see, this is a handy little blaster in a compact size. It comes with 2 5-round magazines, so it gives you a total 6 in the gun. You can kind of see here, as I hold this gun up, that my little pinky kind of wraps underneath of the gun. And Springfield thought of that, and they had a little solution for that. And that is, they also have a handy 7-round magazine. Now this 7-round magazine has a little piece on it here that slides onto the gun that allows it to have more of a full-size grip. Now, the significant advantages of this little gun, first of all, you get a complete package with the gun. So when you buy it, you get a little holster here with it. You get the dual mag carriers. For the life of me, I've yet to figure out who at Springfield, because I certainly know it's not Rob Latham, that has this V design, if you would, here on carrying these magazines. So you kind of get it something like that, which make it really difficult to use in a self-defense situation. One pointed one way, one pointed the other in a V, but okay, I prefer mine standing straight up and down. But you get this with it. Also includes trigger lock, 2 standard magazines. This little magazine in its piece are extra. So from the get-go and from unpacking the gun, I was impressed with how thin the gun is. It's a really thin shooting gun, and by thin shooting I mean you can feel it when you have your hand wrapped around the frame of the gun. There's plenty of opportunity for you to grab purchase with small hands and big hands both. Trigger, typical Springfield Armory trigger, in that, you know, you've got the little striker release, or however they want to call their gun, and I'm not going to get into what's the differences between the Springfield Armory and the other ones, but you know, decent trigger. It comes with a 2-dot rear sight and a red fiber optic insert. So what were my significant observations about shooting the gun? First of all, for the size of gun that it is, it's a fairly soft shooting gun for 45 ACP. I found it to be controllable. I worked some drills with it where I shot 2 to the body, 1 to the head, 2 to the body, 1 to the head, moved, did a reload, engaged another target, 2 to the body, 1 to the head at a further distance. I found the gun really controllable, really shootable. I did note one thing, didn't work with the gun, probably, you know, I'd say maybe 50 rounds, was shooting 230 grain golden saber Remington out of it, so shooting full power loads. What I noticed is this: when I used the standard magazine, the gun to me indexed and the hits were where I would expect them to be. When I used the larger magazine on the gun, the hits seemed to pull down onto the target a little bit. I don't think, because I paid particular attention to the trigger work, what I think the issue is I get a better or different grip on the gun, and so I'm gripping it a little firmer. I'm getting a different squeeze sensation out of it. That's the only variable. I think that that's probably a training issue. I think that's overcomable, but it was something I noticed right off the get-go. This is not uncommon, by the way. When I have other guns that I can change the grip panel on, like a say Smith & Wesson M&P, I'll find that my natural point of impact will change from the small grip swell to the medium to the large, and I've experienced that with other shooters as well. So I noticed that right off the bat. Let's talk about reliability. I had some initial malfunctioning issues with the gun. I'm a little embarrassed to say that that was cured when I took the gun apart and lubricated it, put it back together, had no more malfunctions. So I probably should have done that immediately upon getting the gun, but I just didn't. So I'm going to chalk that up to the gun being dry from the factory, and I should have checked it out. So once the gun was lubricated, I've had zero malfunctions with it. A couple of other things that I've noticed about the gun. When you have a round in the gun and you want to take that round out of the gun, so you dump the magazine, you're going to empty the gun out, it's almost impossible to get the slide all the way back to get the round out. It's just not doable. Now, I've had it do it a few times. I can't duplicate it and get it to come out. So I think that's a wearing issue, but I'm told that's doable. Second feature that I noticed about the gun, a lot of you shooters will notice what I'm talking about. When you have the extended magazine and you vigorously insert it into the gun with rounds in it from a slide lock reload, the slide will bump and go down like a Glock will or an M&P. So I got it to consistently do that. Some of the other shooters weren't able to, but I'm notorious for really slamming a magazine home on a reload. I never got it to do it on the shorter magazines, and I just think that's because there wasn't sufficient force that I could put onto the gun. Now, with that said, I think this is an honest shooting gun. I think that if you're looking for a compact 45, I would compare this gun to a couple of other guns that are out on the market. I would look at the Car PM45, which I own. I think this is a really comparable gun. It's a little narrower than the Car, and the top end, the bottom end is about the same. Reliability, I would say about the same. This gun's going to be a little bit cheaper, but the Car you can get with factory night sights. I'm assuming this one you can put night sights on. So that's the first observation I've got with this in terms of comparability. I think that I would also compare it to potentially, and I know it's a different caliber, but the Smith & Wesson Shield, I think, is another gun that I would compare this with. And they have it in 40 and in 9, and I think that's a comparable gun as well. Now, what would I like to see? So this is a great honest gun. I'd say you're not going to go wrong by buying one of these, but what would I like to see on this? Well, a couple of things. I think that for carry, this gun right here with this longer magazine is probably takes it out of the pocket gun realm. So if I were to say, gee, if we added another inch to the barrel here and got this thing to be something like a commander or officer length gun with this extended magazine, you know, you've got a perfect belt carry gun now. And I think if you're looking for a polymer gun in that size, I think this far and away I favor much better than the little Glock. In terms of it's a true single stack, it's truly thin, and I think it adds a lot to the mix. The other thing that I would say is man, if you could do this in a 9mm, which would make this a softer shooting gun and even thin it down a little bit more, which I doubt will happen. I mean, I doubt that they'll thin it down. I believe they'll bring it out in a 9 and 40, scale the barrel down and the magazines down, but I don't think they're going to look at a new molding and new slide casting. So those were my observations on this gun. All in all, I enjoyed shooting it, and I'd recommend this gun if you're looking for a small concealed carry gun. One last thing, I have a friend who believes that a 6-round magazine would be the perfect size for this gun. Don't know if I agree with that or not. I think that that may be the worst of all worlds, but we'll see if they come out with one. Nighthawk Custom Training, out.